Rockology Hour Interviews.
Welcome to Rockology Hour Interviews. I'm your host, Jake Storer, your resident rock connoisseur, and you'll usually find me hanging out at Riverside Radio on Thursday nights doing my Rockology Hour radio show. And this lovely podcast I have for you fine people is all the interviews from that radio show. And this week is a fantastic one. I sat down with Paul Visser from Black Orchid Empire the day before they released their brand new record, Semaphore, and we get into it. We get very deep in detail on the new record, and also he has a pop at Stappoke to see how he gets on. So the usual routine: pour yourself a drink, put your feet up, whatever you're doing, get yourselves comfortable, and sit back, relax, and enjoy my chat with Paul Visser from Black Orchid Empire. What's up, everybody? I am joined on the Zoom machine by Paul Visser from Black Orchid Empire, lead singer and guitarist. Woo! How you doing, man?
That was an amazing impression. That's exactly.
Is that, yeah.
It might not be what I look like, but it's what I aim to look like.
I've seen some live videos of you guys, and you look much cooler than what I just right then.
Lockdown is not the time to look cool, let's face it. But yeah, thanks for having me, Jake.
I've just grown out my horrible Joe Exotic moustache, so
amazing.
I'm well on the way to your levels of beardom.
It's just laziness. It's pure laziness since like 2013. That's all it is.
Do you have any beard tricks, any beard oils you use? Or
I literally am like the worst person to ask because I don't use any. I just like wash.
Yeah.
And that's it. Like I say, it's entirely laziness driven.
Yeah. How are you finding the whole lockdown situation? Are you dealing with it well? Are you kind of used to it now?
It's been weird. It's so long now that we've all just got like Stockholm syndrome, and we're not going to remember what it was like before or want it to change probably. But no, I mean, it's been fine. It's at the end of the day, for a lot of people, it's been hell, and I really respect people who've been working on the front line during it, and it's made me really appreciate my like delivery drivers and people that I'm like not even joking. Those people really are amazing people we need in our society. And I think for a lot of people it's been really hard. I think for a lot of people it's been fine. It's just been staying at home and trying not to go mental, and hopefully succeeding at that. Like honestly, you can't complain about it. When there are people working in hospitals, you can't really complain. So I've had a fantastic time hanging out at home, to be honest with you.
Yeah, awesome. Yeah, the delivery drivers, I never really thought about it until this lockdown, but they've literally been keeping the world moving.
It turns out
not really a job I thought about.
Exactly, and it turns out that we need delivery drivers more than we need hedge fund managers.
Yeah.
Another thing. But yeah, there we go. It's been an eye-opening experience.
Yeah, awesome. I was speaking to my girlfriend's Dutch, my housemate is Dutch, and I said I was interviewing you, and they were like, "Do you realize his surname is a Dutch word?"
Yeah.
Fisherman. Are you aware of this?
I'm aware of this. So yes, although I'm not particularly Dutch because my dad was adopted, and I'm not actually sure what my kind of heritage is. Obviously, I was born here, and my granddad on his side is his adopted father is where the name comes from. So I'm sorry to any Dutch people listening. I'm not Dutch, but I do have a Dutch name, so maybe that counts for something. In fact, I'm more Swedish, if anything, because that same part of my family is all from. So my grandma on that side is all from Sweden, so we celebrate lots of Swedish stuff. So
nice.
Who knows? Really, it's a big melting pot.
So you're potentially not a Dutch fisherman after all, but
it turns out that would be a probably much harder life.
Yeah. Awesome. So you must be super excited because Friday, the 12th of June, you're releasing your third studio album, Semaphore, and I'm super excited to hear this. How excited are you about it?
It's really exciting, and it's a really difficult time because the run up to a thing like this that we've been working on for so long is always that kind of nail biting thing, a bit like waiting for Christmas, and then a little bit kind of a bit agitated, thinking what's people's opinions going to be like. It's a massively important record for us because I think it marks the biggest push we've ever done to expand our own horizons and push ourselves further than we normally would. But we're always quite a kind of we're always trying to push our own envelope anyway as a band, but this time it feels like it's done that more than ever before. So it's heavier than anything we've ever done. It's more technical than anything we've ever done. It's more annoyingly hard to play than anything we've ever done. It's also more melodic and has softer moments than anything we've done before. So it's a kind of I think when a band is good, it should always be trying to evolve itself. That's kind of what makes bands progress for me, and that's what we've always tried to do. I don't think anyone really wants to just make the same record again. And it feels like we've really succeeded in that this time. And also tying it all together with a kind of concept gave us a lot of freedom. And to be honest with you, we just had a super fun time making it.
Yeah, that segues nicely into my next question, because this is a kind of a sci-fi related concept album, right? So is it each track is a different kind of story within the sci-fi world? Am I right in thinking that?
You are right in thinking that.
That's almost like coming up with, I don't know how many tracks are on the record, but like, I don't know, 12 different episodes of, I don't know, Red Dwarf or something like that.
It is, except it's more like coming up with 13 different Red Dwarfs. So it's like each one is a self-contained narrative. And I've actually written a little short story for each song as well.
Oh, cool.
We're going to start kind of drip feeding those out once it's released, so people can see the story of the song from a different perspective. And then I'm not claiming any major originality here, because these are all ideas that have been done a million times, but they're all basically inspired on things that we love. I think sci-fi is a really important medium because more than almost any other type of genre, it allows you to just think about things as they could be in a completely new way, and some way that isn't even vaguely linked to the present in a lot of ways, or sometimes is very closely linked. But what always happens from that is you start to think about your own position in the world and how the universe works for you. And it's just a beautiful way of kind of painting a big metaphor that works for people now. And so the imagery on the front of the album is about the idea that when you create a piece of art, really, of any kind, it's kind of the closest human beings can get to being telepathic, because two people can listen to the same thing in two different countries at different times in their life, in different places and different times, and have the same reaction to it because of the connection to that music. So, or a book or a film or anything. And I think it's a really important part of what makes us human beings in general, is our ability to enjoy the same thing with someone else, or even not with them, and have the same kind of response. So it sounds like it'd be a massive task to come up with all those ideas, but actually what it meant was that normally you have to sit there going, oh, I've got to base this all on my own experience, and I've got to say something powerful here. And it's quite restricting in a weird kind of way, because you can't write a song about going to the shops. Well, you could. But if you get to write it about like the fact that everyone's just found out they're a robot for the first time, that's a really interesting, like crazy thing you can do. So we just got drunk every Thursday night in our studio, because we run a commercial studio. And after the session for that day, the three of us just sat around and like all together in the control room, wrote riffs, programmed drums, put bass parts down, whatever, and then came up with melodies and came up with all these. So we'd be sitting there and one of us would literally be like, what about this idea? And then it would, so I think Winter Keeps Us Warm, for example, it just sort of fell out. We started writing a riff, and then by like midnight we had the whole thing. Like every single part of the song on the demo was done. And that never happens normally. It was just a nice sort of freeing experience. Normally we'd all jam in a room together and come up with it that way, and then I'd spend ages racking my brains for like some amazing powerful thing I wanted to say, which is so hard.
You, Dave and Billy, you all work at the same studio in London.
It's our studio.
So are you just going to kick in the band? I was like, get out so we can write and record.
No, that's financially a very bad idea. No, it's we've all been obsessed with music for our whole lives, and we've all been producers. So I met Billy when he was producing a band I was in like 2003 or something ridiculous. Oh, wow. So we've been working on other people's music almost as long as we've been working on our own. So it's a big part of what we do. And the band really is the opposite of that. It's the catharsis. It's the kind of, I've been thinking about other people's stuff all day, and now I get to just do the thing that I don't have to care what anyone else thinks about it. I only have to care what I think about it. It's that purely sort of self-indulgent bit. Wow. But it just sort of flowed. I don't really ever, it kind of ties together. quite nicely. You spend your days working on complete different genre as well, mate, or a lot of the time. You might be doing like a hip hop track or complete pop or whatever, or Polish black metal, I don't know, and then you'd end up doing your band after that, and it's a totally different thing. So it's actually, to be fair, it's a really valid question, because the 3 albums we've done, this is the first one when we've been really comfortable in that environment. Eugen happened just in the infancy of the studio, and because all these things are always written a long time before they get released. So we released Archetype in 2016, but a lot of the work for that was done before we had the studio, for example. Wow. So yeah, it's been a different process, this one, for sure.
Yeah, it sounds like you know, on the face of it, if you have 3 producers working together in a 3-piece, you think
nightmare, right?
Hey, yeah, it sounds like you work very well together, and it's quite something like you're putting together a whole track within an evening's work, which is
So we found the secret recipe, which I do not think would work for anyone. A lot of bands, there's an external producer, and we do that job ourselves all the time for other bands, and they're just an objective viewpoint that can help the band work out what they should be doing in a way that's really hard when you're really close to it. And some bands, there's a producer in the band, or like, for example, Periphery have one of my favorite mix engineers ever. Nolly is the mix engineer. He was in the band for a long time, and he still produces it now. That can really work, because there's somebody in the band that everybody else goes, right, you are the guy we're going to let drive that process. When it's all of you, it could be really difficult, but it's very rare that you get a band that's a 3-piece. So you either all agree or it's 2 versus 1, which is really important. And all of you have that perspective of being a producer, and you can all say, as a producer, I can kind of sit back and see this differently. And somehow there's enough overlap and enough kind of agreement that it works. It's kind of weird. It probably shouldn't, but it does. And to be fair, we were working together on lots of different projects before we started this band, so it's not like a surprise, but it works. But yeah, I don't recommend it. It's a difficult way to do it, but it's for us, it works really well. I think for a 4-piece band, it would be a very different deal. Imagine 4 producers, you get 2 versus 2, you get all sorts of nightmares. We basically produce each other. So if I'm playing guitar or singing, the other 2 guys are producing me. If Dave's playing bass, we're producing him. But at the same time, Billy might very easily come up with a vocal melody, and I might come up with a drum part, and it's just, there's basically zero musical ego between the 3 of us. We just serve whatever song is there, and that's much harder to do than say. But if you can stay true to that, then it works.
Yeah. Wow. So would you say, if you're doing your singing or the guitar work, you are the artist for that point in time? You've got 2 producers, and then if I don't know, Billy's doing the drums, then you and Dave are the 2 producers. Yeah,
which he absolutely, which he kind of hated, because we pretty much broke him. He's an insane drummer, and this record brought out the best performances he's ever done, and it was hard work. But that's kind of how it works. I mean, you can't really self-produce, because it's like trying to edit your own writing when you've just written it, and someone else will put their head over your shoulder and be like, you missed a comma, but you wouldn't see it because you're in front of the page. It's very hard to have the objectivity to do it yourself. But when you have other people that you really trust, I think that's the main thing. The relationship between an artist and a producer is all about trust, and we automatically had that, so that was kind of easy.
Awesome. So how did you mentioned Dave was originally your producer, and then you linked up later? How did So how did Billy get into the band?
It's the other way around.
So Dave came later.
Yeah, we found Dave on we put found him on like Star Now, one of those like musician dating site things. Because me and Billy had a band called Cape Fear for a while, and it was the bass player Ben left, and Dave joined that band, and then that slowly kind of mutated over time and ended up stopping, and we became Black Orchid Empire with just the 3 of us. But we were all in the same band together before with another guitarist. But yeah, it was literally like we needed a bass player. We looked on the internet and we found one, because obviously he wasn't the only guy we ended up like playing with. But he walked in and nailed every bass part, and also as a bonus all the backing vocals, which I didn't even ask him to do. And we were just like, okay, that's fine. You're obviously in the band. And then he, from that point, has become, you know how like in every band there's the one really super organized guy?
Yeah.
It's him. And he's kind of trained me and Bill a little bit. But it's like, you got to have somebody who is super pro and super organized. And these days, like every band has to be everything for themselves at the beginning until other people get involved.
Yeah, super DIY. Am I right in thinking? You know, you used to do the artwork on the albums. Did you do the artwork for this record?
Yeah, I did. All the artwork was drawn by me, and then sort of laid out by Dave. So he's like the Photoshop guy. But yeah, I just it's all digital tablet drawings basically, and I'm really proud of it actually, because originally we've always worked with a variety of different people. We've got photography or whatever, and we've done a lot of the layout stuff ourselves, but on this one we thought it's so personal and we've done so much of the work, like with the narratives and all the other stuff going on, it just made sense. And I've kind of got a background in doing a bit of art from when I was younger, but really music took over and I haven't done very much for ages, but it was really good to get back into it. We just once we'd finished the album, we just started the work on all the other stuff, so we just had more Thursday nights, but it was drawing instead of writing. But yeah, I'm pretty proud of how it's come out.
Yeah, well, judging by the 4 singles off it, it sounds incredible. So who's in your quarantine playlist at the moment? Who are you listening to? What bands?
I've been simply awful at listening to music, to be honest, because I've been trying to keep myself occupied and I've got my family here and everything. And it's weird. What I've learned is that I mainly listen to music on my commute to the studio and back. And I'm not doing that. So it's weird. I have to kind of force myself to go and like put music on. Yeah. But I also find it quite hard to go and search out new bands. I tend to find the albums I love already, or it's a bit like when you go to a restaurant and you order the same thing every time because you know you love it.
Yeah. You don't want to push the boat out and spend money on something that you don't like, even though you know that meal right there is going to be banging.
Exactly, and it's awful. It's the worst behaviour because I'm trying to put myself out there. You know, we're trying to be like band that everyone should listen to. But I do occasionally like putting like random stuff on. My favourite bands are. People like Deftones, people like Periphery, who I love for their kind of techie stuff, and their madness, and Tesseract, who also James from Tesseract is our PR guy, and that's amazing. Awesome. So I'm quite into the quite techie kind of stuff, but also I'm really like a mid-90s kind of grunge kid.
Yes.
So it's all about like Alice in Chains and Soundgarden and Nirvana and things like Queens of the Stone Age, which kind of bridge those gaps a little bit. But yeah, what have I listened to recently? I'm awful. I'm the worst at it, honestly. I tell you what I did do. I listened to like a playlist a while ago. While I was doing the artwork, actually, the main artwork for Semaphore, I stuck on like a progressive metal playlist, and there's a few really cool bands on there. Stellar Circuits. I don't know if you've heard of them.
I've not heard them. No.
Really, really cool. Lots of like. There's just so many interesting, very forward-thinking, very progressive, techie kind of bands out there. It's really interesting. I started listening a while ago to a band called Issues. I really like
Issues, yeah.
They're amazing. In a kind of weird way because it ticks both my pop box and my kind of metal box, which is really cool. And so like Dirty Loops, the Swedish band, have you heard those guys?
I've not heard those guys, no.
They're mad, completely mad. Like weird mix of like 80s pop and shred and fusion. But
I'm making a note of this because I love 80s pop.
Yeah, and it's ridiculous. And it's like a keyboard player, a drummer, and a bass player, and they just rip. They're completely ridiculous, and it's really satisfying to listen to. So yeah, but also I'm always getting sent references in every genre under the sun to listen to for mixes and stuff. So I'm always interested by what crops up. But I'm an awful person when it comes to going and actively checking things out. Because to be honest with you, I'm surrounded by so much music all day, all the time. I generally, at the end of my day, when it was the studio, back in the days of being at the studio, I just sort of wanted to tune out and listen to a podcast about bread or something. No, actually, that's not true. I listen to podcasts about engineering music because I'm a huge mix engineer nerd. But yeah.
Awesome. I've made a note of Dirty Luke. So on the show Rockology Hour, every week we have a discovery of the week. So a new band who I found this week. So I think Dirty Luke's, I'll give them a listen. I imagine, judging by what you said, they'll probably be my discovery of the week this week.
I reckon you'll like them. They're already fairly well known. I don't think you're the first person to discover them. But
I'm always late to the party on certain things. So this record is a kind of concept record, a lot of sci-fi elements to it. What are your favorite sci-fi TV shows?
So Death from Above, one of the singles, is directly based on Altered Carbon, which obviously it was a Netflix show, but I read the books as well. I read the books actually after watching the show, but I was kind of aware of the books. I just hadn't got around to reading them yet. And then it made me realize I definitely needed to, so I read all three. The author, Richard Morgan, is amazing. And it's all about a character, Takeshi Kovacs, who the idea is that you can kind of like transport your consciousness into another body. And that has all these different societal implications. So people they have like mortgages on their bodies. And when they die, they need to get a new one. And the poor people can't get a new body, so they have to be stored. And the rich ones can live for like thousands of years. It's a mad thing. But his idea was that we found a bunch of ancient Martian technology. And that's what gave us all this stuff out of the blue. A bit like people dig up Egyptian ruins. People dug up Martian ruins and went, oh, look, this is amazing. We can do all these crazy technological things now. So Death from Above is basically about the Martians, which were these crazy bird-like raptor things. This is a song about Martians as well. But it's that's really inspiring. That's really, really cool.
It sounds more plausible than Scientology, that's for sure.
It's probably closely related.
Yeah. Also, so what hobbies do you have outside of music? You mentioned like you sometimes like to switch off. What do you bake bread or?
I don't bake bread. I do like cooking. Actually, I love cooking. Well, art's becoming more and more of a thing. Especially having a bit of lockdown time, I found myself doing a bit more of that, which is really, really cool.
Yeah.
And writing, I've had a lot of fun writing the short stories for the record. I don't know why I even really decided to do that. It just seemed like a good idea at the time, and it is, but it's a lot of work. So that's been quite interesting, and it's not something I ever really thought would kind of resurface again. I've done it for a long time. And I also really love tinkering with guitars in general, so I'm always like switching pickups and doing setups and stuff like that. So that kind of keeps me busy. But when you have little kids, you don't really have you're not overburdened with spare time. So
fair enough. Yeah. Awesome. Paul, are you ready for my Stappoke quiz game?
It doesn't sound like it's possible to be ready, but I'm going to try.
All right. Okay. So I'm sure listeners are aware of this now, but Stappoke is the liveliest karaoke quiz game involving Scott Stapp impersonations on the airways, and that's probably a fact because it's probably the only one. But I am going to sing lyrics to Paul in the voice of Scott Stapp from Creed. Paul then has to guess the next line or say the next line, say the band and the track name. There's 10. There's 2 points per lyric, and yeah. Oh, do you want the scores on the door? So. Okay, so it's out of 20.
Okay.
First, Milk Teeth and Take Flight. They've got 18. 18. They did have.
I'm almost certainly going to be bottom of the leaderboard because I can't even remember my own lyrics. So my chances of remembering those are very, very slim.
So bottom of the pile is Rao Reynolds from Shikari. He got 10.5. I think you can beat that.
But let's try.
So where are you hoping to get? I
will be honestly super happy if I get any right at all. So
trust me, you'll get some right. I'll help you out as well.
That.
Yeah. Okay, I'll do my little warm up. My sacrifice. Okay.
Just
number one.
Preface: are any of them actually Creed lyrics?
No.
Well, at least I know.
That'd be too easy because like, obviously that's Creed. Okay, number one. We are animals, slaves to change.
Through natural perfection, natural selection.
Yeah, there we go.
Glad I got that one right. But I'm not even joking. I really had to think about that.
A lot of singers have not got him. I mean, Benji Webb from Skindred said it's whatever. He got his wrong, right? But he said I had to give him the 2 points because he said the lyrics are whatever he says they are. So he got 2 for that, even though he was wrong.
Makes them up. He probably just makes them up on the spot.
A lot of guys said that. I'm learning a lot about singers on this quiz show. But
yeah,
you're off to a flying start. That's 2. Okay. Number 2.
Okay.
Look into the sky to see me. Looking for a sign of love. The video is set on an airplane, and
I only remember the "Learn to Fly" bit. I don't remember what's before that.
Okay, so you got the track.
It's learn to fly, but I don't remember the bit.
I'm out. So, but you get the. Did you get? I take it you get the band and the track.
Obviously, Foo Fighters, Learn to Fly, but I don't. There's a huge part of my memory which doesn't allow me to remember any part of the song other than the title.
Yeah. And also I realized doing this game show, I've gotten so many lyrics wrong in the past, like in a bars and clubs singing. They're not even close, a lot of them. In
my defense, I've been playing with Dave quite a long time, played quite a few gigs, and then he suddenly asked me what the lyrics for one of the songs were, and I'm like, you've been singing BVs to that for like 8 shows.
Maybe he's just doing Scott Stapp.
No, he's incredible. He's incredible at making the right vowel sound at the right time. That's all it is.
Okay, so that, like you said, Foo Fighters, Learn to Fly, but the next line was, looking for a sign of love, looking for someone to help me burn out bright.
Okay, no.
That was
I was in the wrong place in the chorus. I was thinking you were at the end of the chorus.
Oh, fair enough. Really. I'll stay where it is next time.
Do I get a point for knowing the band and the song?
Yeah.
But don't know the lyrics?
Yeah, you got 1 point for that. So
I think I rate my chances just a tiny bit higher than I thought I did then.
So you're on 3 out of 4 so far. Number 3. Rally around the family. And I can't do much more because he just repeats the same line over and over again.
I'm completely out. I've got no idea what that is.
Okay. What clues can I give? They were supposed to do their comeback tour this year, but obviously because of the whole pandemic situation, they couldn't come back.
Who was coming back this year? Rage?
Yeah.
Yeah?
There you go. Run around the family.
I don't have no clue.
It is Rage. Have a punt on the track?
I don't know.
It's okay. I'll give you half because you got Rage. It's Bulls on Parade.
Okay, of course.
With a pocket full of shells.
There you go. Yeah. Just for some reason, what it's doing is it's revealing how my memory works, which is I pick the line I like, and it's always the one that's after the first one.
So I'm being mean.
If you said pocket full of shells, I'd have been like, obviously Bulls on Parade, but I just never remember. It's stupid.
It's tough because that one had to give a really short little phrase because he just says that line over and over and over again. So
it's actually what you're saying is it's
tough.
Zach De La Rocca's fault that
it is.
That.
He needs to.
It's a bit hard.
More variation of lyrics. I don't know. I'm not going to tell him what to do. Okay.
I wouldn't recommend it.
No, it's definitely not him. Okay.
Pretty vocal about not being told what to do.
Yeah. He's like the worst person I could ask. Okay. Number 4. Because I want it now. I want it now.
Oh no! What's that? The fact that you're doing it in the Stapp accent makes this so much harder because it's so hard to concentrate.
So Benji Webb was sort of saying, I sounded like Vic Reeves from Shooting Stars, and it was
it's basically in the club style.
Club sing around.
Is it like a 80s?
I'd say early 2000s. I'm not sure on the exact year.
I'm out.
English rock band, very famous. Do you want to hear it again? You might get it again if I give it more.
I definitely won't. But
okay. So it was Muse with Hysteria. And give me your heart and your soul.
I've got to say, my Muse listening is basically Origin of Symmetry, and then it kind of dropped off. I don't really know why. I guess it depends where you come into the career of a band, and I loved them at that time, and then I just got distracted and never really... I'm not a huge Muse fan, which is strange. And not because I don't think they're good. I think they have some incredible stuff, but I haven't kept up with all their releases, so that's my fault.
I think I ducked out around the Second Law. I think I was like,
listen, everyone had, like, for me, the whole thing about music is it's right place, right time, and sometimes things really connect with you. And I'm sure if you listen to it's like if you could watch like A New Hope for the first time at the age of 35, it's not going to have the same impact for you. So it's just a weird thing. And for some reason it connected me at one point and it just lost its connection with me. I don't know why. Sorry, Muse.
It's all right. I'm sure Matt Bellingham will forgive you. Yeah. Okay. Number 5.
Is it only? It feels like we've been doing this for an hour. Is it only?
I'm
5?
sorry.
It's essentially this is basically its entire thing is an anxiety dream. That's what
usually people enjoy Stappoke.
I do enjoy it, but it's still freaking me out.
Okay. I'll try and pick up the pace a little bit. Okay, so number 5.
It's not the length of time.
End your nightmare as quickly as possible. Number 5. There is love burning to find you.
No. Pass.
Do you want some clues?
Yeah.
Might be good. Okay, so
just lead with the clues.
Okay, lead with the clues. Okay, so this band has had 2 singers.
Simultaneously?
Actually, that's a good point. So on their new record, their old singer and their new singer.
So that's Killswitch Engage.
Yeah, there you go.
But I still don't know the song.
It's probably their biggest track, maybe their second biggest track. As we mentioned Harry Potter earlier.
Do we?
Oh yeah, but that might have been off air actually. If you, what kind of clues can I give?
I obviously know the band, but I'm striking out here.
Just name many. I think it's definitely in their top 3 biggest hits, I guess.
Oh God, this is another band that I listened to just shitloads when the album came out, their sort of first record, and then it dropped off again for some reason.
So this is with their second singer. This is with Howard Jones, if that helps.
I have a feeling the Howard era I wasn't really on board with Killswitch in the same way. Like I listened to loads of I think it was basically just the first record I was obsessed with. And then I don't know why. Why does that keep happening? That does keep happening. I have like a flirtation with a band for ages, and then it sort of ends, and I get distracted by whatever else is out. I'm just fickle.
The early stuff's way better.
I actually saw, who was it? There was someone it was Northlane. There was someone saying, "Why don't you bring Northland old stuff?" They said Northland in the comment. Which is the problem. Okay. Saying, I used to love Northland, but now their shit is their first EP was the best one, and the guy was just like, "Fuck off! That's like our worst one." He was like, "That was shit. We couldn't even give those CDs away." Amazing.
Yeah, fair. Okay, so it was Killswitch Engage. So I'll give you half on that one. The track was My Curse, and the next line was.
Obviously, I've heard it many times, but I'm not. The lyrics of it have passed me by. I'm sorry.
Will you wait for me? Was the next line. Okay.
Probably could have just gone for a punt, but yeah.
So 2, 3, 4. So you got 4 so far. Number 6. Yeah. I feel like you went on tour with this band, and if you haven't, this might be a bit tricky. Number 6. I feel alive. You are my ecstasy. It's you that I'm craving.
Oh, that's one of Dave's lyrics from In Me, but I don't. Is it? Yeah.
Their biggest hit, probably. I say yes. That is.
I don't know the next line. I don't know.
Track. It's probably their biggest track.
Is it Faster the Chase?
Yes, it is. Very good.
Yeah, we did tour with them, and they're lovely, lovely, lovely people, and we got absolutely annihilated with Greg every night. And that led to me not remembering any of their lyrics, obviously. That was a complete blank on the lyrical content, but I did remember the band song.
You did get the band and the track.
I did watch them perform it every night on tour, so I probably should have done better.
And imagine they probably closed with it or got near the end anyway. The next line was, "I feel alive, you are my energy." Okay.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, cool.
It's all coming flooding back.
It's come flooding back. Okay, number 7. This is a bit of a hint. Smashing through the boundaries, lunacy has found me.
It's Metallica.
Yeah.
Smashing the Boundaries in the Family.
I think it's the opening track of Master of Puppets, I believe. It's not Master of Puppets.
I don't know. I'm losing so much like rock and roll credibility. I don't care. But it's that I don't know the next line, and I can't even remember which song it is. That's how bad that is.
Well, the track title is in the next line. The next line is "Cannot stop the battery."
Battery.
That's battery.
Okay.
There you go. It's got half on that one. Okay, number 8. Your nightmare is almost over. Don't worry, Paul. Your anxiety dream.
I'm becoming kind of like sadomasochist about that. I like it now.
You hit me again. Let's do another 10. Okay, number 8. Oh no, that's not the right melody, Jay. Not the right melody. They held me down so long, got me crawling like an animal.
I haven't a clue.
They remind me of like a new Rage Against the Machine, like a 2020 Rage.
Oh, this is a new band?
Yeah, semi-new. The singer used to be in Let Live. They did an amazing kind of live stream for the Black Lives Matters a couple of days ago. If that helps. And the track title is in that line I just gave you.
Okay, now I'm just trying to think of bands that are relatively new. Is it like Fever 333?
Yep.
And I don't know. I'm afraid I don't know this stuff very well.
If I help you, the title is in the line, the opening line I gave you. So I can give it to you again, you can have a guess which word.
I didn't get battery.
But that wasn't the next line, to be fair. But the title of this track is in the lyric I just sung.
You know what, though? I have to say, that band are a band that I really want to check out, and I haven't actually checked out properly yet. So I haven't really heard much of their stuff, but I've seen a couple of vids of them playing live and things, and it looks amazing.
Jason's crazy. Yeah. He's doing. Yeah, just I imagine his body at the end of the tour is just completely destroyed. Some of the stuff I've seen him do on stage. Should I sing it one more time? And there's a word in the opening line which is the title of the track. Do you want to guess what word that is?
No. I feel like this is one of those things where for you, knowing the song and seeing the answer, this seems like it would be easy.
Yeah, I don't know. When I'm reading through, I was like, I don't think I'd get this one. Wouldn't get this one.
I'm not entirely sure that I've actually heard the song. That's how
fair enough.
But I'm aware of the band.
Fair enough. So the track was Animal, and it was Fever 333, like you said. And the next line was Take It All, Leaving Nothing for the Cannonballs.
Okay. Play. Again, haven't heard it, but will.
Fair enough. This one's more of a classic. Okay. You take my life, but I'll take yours too.
Dum.
Yeah.
It's from Run to the Hills by Iron Maiden.
No. Is Iron Maiden, but it's...
Oh, was it The Trooper?
Yes, there you go.
There you go.
Bosh. Next line.
You take my life and I'm sorry.
Imagine me in the war running. What have I got in my hand?
Something about a bayonet? Or
similar to a bayonet.
I can't remember. My entire youth was spent listening to Maiden, and I'm out.
Fair enough. It's you fire your musket, but I'll run you through.
There you go, run you through. Okay, fine.
That wasn't very Scott Stapp. I'm annoyed at my impression.
Yeah.
Okay, last one. And which I'm sure you'll be delighted to know. We have mentioned this band earlier. Okay, so.
All right.
I've watched you change.
Deftones House of Flies.
Yeah.
I've watched you change. Had you finished?
That was the
okay.
It's not a very long line, so I had to cut it off pretty quick.
In you.
Yeah.
It's like you never.
Yes.
What is he saying? It's like you never had wings.
That's some excellent YouTube content there for when this eventually goes up on there. So you got a nice 2 there.
Yeah. See,
okay.
that's a band I'm familiar with the catalogue of, obviously.
Yeah. I mean, they're the best. Hopefully they release their new record this year. So quick add up. So 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 9.
Yep.
So unfortunately, Paul,
comfortably worst.
Yeah, Raoul Reynolds has pitched you to the post there.
I'm actually really reassured that he was quite crap as well. That's good.
But it's the taking part that counts. You may be bottom of
not.
You may be bottom of the Stappoke charts, but you're number one in our hearts. How about that?
Stappoke sounds like some awful dessert.
Yeah, have the Stappoke on toast, please.
Or like a medical condition. It's also made me think that maybe like a Deftones tribute band in the style of Scott Stapp might be your calling. Maybe that's
wow. I
that's
mean,
the thing.
What could surely that band already exists.
Like Creed Tones.
Creed Tones.
Sounds awful actually when you say it like that.
Defeat.
It's not working. For a second, I thought we had a glimmer of an idea there, but it's
not. So Paul, you have a listening party, which is actually technically right now. I think this is Thursday at 8:00. If you're listening to live on Riverside Radio, yeah. If you're live on Riverside Radio, Paul has time traveled. He's hopped around. So you're currently in a Zoom listening party. Can you rewatch the listening party after it goes live?
So basically, put it like this. Me in the future,
yes,
as I am now,
yes,
quite a good sci-fi story in itself, is going to be on Zoom in real time, and also recording Zoom to play to anyone that wasn't on Zoom in the future of the future. Yes. But as it is right now, I'm in the past, which is the present, and this is just normal Zoom, which I don't think it is our real time. Yeah. So if that isn't confusing to you on
technically.
Technically, what I should be doing is saying, don't watch this, switch over to our Zoom party and go and listen to that. But yes.
Awesome. I know if you're listening to the podcast version of this, Semaphore will be out because this is dropping on Sunday. So go check it out. I'm very excited to hear it.
That's the main message.
That's it.
Forget about everything other than going and listening to Semaphore, please.
Awesome, Paul. Thanks so much for your time, man. I really enjoyed chatting to you and looking forward to the album. And wish you all the best for the future. Really appreciate your time.
Thanks for having me.
Awesome. That was my chat with Paul Visser from Black Orchid Empire. Their new record, Semaphore, is out now. Please do go check it out. It's a fantastic record. I've been binging it ever since the interview. Go check that bad boy out. You can follow them on the socials at Black Orchid Empire on, I believe, Instagram and Facebook, but their Twitter is just Orchid Empire. So go follow them on the socials and check out their new record. Very talented band. You may not have heard them, so go have a listen. And please do follow Rockology Hour on the socials at Rockology Hour on Twitter, Instagram, and Rockology Hour Radio Show on Facebook. You give us a follow and also share with a mate. If you have a like-minded mate who's into alternative music who you think would like the show, please do send them a link. Get them involved as well. That'd be fantastic. You're the best. You're the best. 5-star review season as well. So if you're on, I think it's Apple Podcasts, iTunes, give us a 5-star review. Hit the follow button. So every time a new podcast is dropped on Sunday, it's going straight into your feed wiring on, and then you get it straight away instead of forgetting about little old me. So get a follow in there. We'll be back every Sunday with a brand new interview just for you, hot off the presses. Next week is a fantastic one. Really excited for you guys to hear it. But until then, stay safe, stay sane. I have been your host, your resident rock connoisseur, Jake Storer, and I'm off. Bye-bye.
Rockology Hour Interviews.